All right, we are in another year of Breakfast with Benefield, obviously in Fife's Fieldhouse with Coach Benefield here. Coach, another off season. We came up here and did a preseason video with you. Reggie actually had to do that because our first one got erased, and that was 100% my fault. But Coach, since Reggie was up here, you guys actually played a Jamboree game against Mars Hill. Very, very good opponent. Take me back to that night and some of the things you were looking when you scheduled those guys for that Jamboree, and then what you've seen as the game progressed.
Well, we're just hoping we could compete and get kids playing hard and hopefully line up right under the lights and catch a ball, snap a ball, and just do the things that you have to do in front of a crowd. So I think it helped us some. Of course, like you said, a quality opponent. It's a Jamboree. You know, a lot of people read more into that than what it is. But you're checking kids out, letting them play some that might not necessarily be playing in a real game, but you see what they got. And both coaches doing that, I'm sure. But if they play hard and try to tackle and block, and even if they mess up going wide open. So
some of the things I noticed in that game, the effort was there in a lot of aspects. Could you talk about the team's overall effort during that game?
Well, I'm getting old. I forgot that far back. It's been 2 weeks. I think there's a lot of bad stuff that went on, but we won't talk about that. But just inexperienced kids playing. When you lose 10 people, 9 people on both sides, but, it's part of life, part of sports and small school or any school. But hopefully if we stay healthy, we'll get better. If we're practicing right and practicing hard and focusing on what we're supposed to be doing, we'll get better. That's all you can do every year. Try to be good as you can be.
Now, you essentially in the ballpark of replacing 20 starters.
That's right.
I mean, that's got to be a little bit challenging at this point in your career. How was that? Did you welcome that challenge, or did it make you have more gray hair?
I don't have any hair, so I got gray
I see it on your
beard, gray
goatee.
goatee. Yeah, it's very gray. It's accumulation of 40 years of this. So just do the same thing. I'm not changing anything. And
Hayes in the barn.
Hayes sometime in the barn, sometimes it's left outside wet. So and, sometimes it's green, you can't bail it. So, anyway, we just do what we do and try to, I compare it sometimes to a puzzle where you're trying to get everybody in the right spot and the puzzle pieces together. Sometimes you buy a box that don't have that one piece in there that you need, so it just messes up the whole puzzle. So, but we're trying, and hopefully we'll get guys in the right spot here in a couple of weeks.
Now, so let's fast forward. You guys actually took a very long road trip to Isabella in a return game. They came up here last year. You guys were successful against them. And then, obviously, with a road trip that long with a team this young, you had to have some concerns coming into this week.
Yeah, we're not that young. That's just what some coaches say they are. We are is what we are. No excuses. Not for me, anyway. I'm sure the mamas and daddies can make excuses for them, but I'm not going to. Grow up and be a man, play with courage and play tough. And if you love football like you should, you're going to want to do that. And if you're not, then there ain't a whole lot I can do for you. But we went. That is a road trip, and sometimes different surroundings can break your focus. And hadn't got to watch all the film, much of it at all, but again, a lot of mistakes, but good things. Best I remember, looked like our backs run good and hard and strong, and had an elusive quarterback. It made us look silly there sometimes, but that's part of being a good athlete. He is. And Coach Leonard does a great job with them. I thought it was physical, both sides. And we both got a lot out of it, I think.
Coach, something I noticed about the game stats. Thank you, Harold Bolden, by the way. I didn't get to attend that game.
Kudos to Harold Bowe.
He's the man, ain't he?
He's the man.
Said you guys ran the ball pretty effectively. You had 241 yards on the ground to their 14. So that's a recipe for success when you can kind of control the tempo of the game, especially with the offense you run. Can you talk about that?
The first half of the game.
Thanks for the game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what Harold said.
I ain't even saw no stats. That may be. They had some bad snaps like we did, and it knocked. See, that probably knocked. We had 2 snaps and lost 30 yards, so it's part of the stats. You lose 30 right there, and I think they did the same thing. But we had some sacks too, and that might be right then.
Harold's usually pretty accurate.
Oh, Harold's right on the money.
Yeah.
He ought to run for president. What about your passing yards? We need to have
their passing yards. They had 105.
105. Well, I thought our defense played pretty well. It was physical. Lots of places to get better, of course. Kicking game's pretty horrendous, but we're working on that.
It's not easy to replace the 2 you got.
No, it's not easy, but it seemed like we kicked off pretty good.
Dalton.
Logan had a good punt. Had some mistakes later on, but we had one good punt, I know, inside the 5. So. And we had some good kickoffs.
Said you had 2 for 85 yards, a 42-point average.
We run backwards.
42-yard average.
We went backwards on some of it, I think. But anyway, the second half got slowed down there a little bit, and we was trying just to milk the clock up and try to get home safely, and I think everybody did.
Coach, another thing that kind of stuck out to me, looks like Brody Hicks is back running the ball pretty effectively.
He's back. Yeah.
That's definitely got to be an advantage for you. And obviously, Kyle Dukes was pretty steady, Logan Anderson, and Mr. Baker as well come in and ran the ball pretty effectively for you.
It is. That's hard for me to understand how. Just remembering when I was in the 8th grade, it's hard for me to understand how you can just stand up on the field and actually run out on the field, because I'd have fell down, tripped, and I don't know, maybe went in a fetal position or something, went to crying if it
You
been
see
me.
some of them guys that they have.
But 8th grader, it don't seem to bother Braden very much. I mean, Aubrey, I call him. I don't know why I get them mixed up. But Aubrey is a talented kid with some good feet. If he'll just keep his head straight and work, he'll get better and better. But come in last night, and the game wasn't just necessarily out of hand. And performed pretty well. Got to let him throw it some, though. He can throw it.
And he played pretty well up here against Mars Hill when he came in.
He did. He's quick.
I remember him sticking out. He played a pretty good game up here. Now, Coach, let's fast forward to this week. What are some of the things that you guys got to clean up and work on coming into this next week?
Offense, defense, and kicking game, and
the whole 9.
Blocking, and tackling.
You get a week off for that.
We do
to do so.
We do. I thought I saw that first of the year. I thought 2 good teams we played, and then we get a week off, and then we go into our region. So it all worked out pretty good. And we're going to try to get better at some of those things that we're not licensed. And it rains every day. You can't practice unless you're one of these luxury teams that has an indoor practice
facility. Well, hey, we got a new superintendent. He may do a little.
He may give us all one in the county.
That's right. But you got to do it for. If you do it for one, you got to do it for them all. Correct.
Well, that's what they say.
That's it.
We won't go there.
Well, Coach, one last question before I shut this one down. How do you feel about off weeks during the season, especially once you get rolling?
I normally don't like them.
Yeah.
I actually have 2 this year, but I really just don't like them normally. But I think this year I may like them. I think there's a lot we need to work on, and some other steps we need to take forward, and just hopefully get a few more things put in, and just like last night, got a safety, and I don't know, it's been probably 25 years since I didn't even walk over what happens when somebody has a safety, because we were so worried about other little things that we couldn't learn, so we didn't fog their brain with a safety. And that happened last night, and just everybody's walking around like, evidently they don't have safeties on Madden.
No, Madden.
What's the Xbox game?
Yeah, Madden.
I don't know.
It's Madden.
Whatever it's called. Madden must not have safeties that shows everybody what to do on that.
That's awesome.
I'll try to get that added if I get to talk to them.
You need to talk to EA Sports and try to get that added.
Yeah, add a safety so we'll know the other team know what happened to him.
That's
that,
awesome.
You know, that whoever gets the safety gets kicked off too, and
that's right.
20-yard line and all.
You need to get that added in. If somebody from EA Sports got some connections,
yeah,
get that taken care of.
Yeah, you can send me a check too for it if you do.
Hey, Coach, gonna get that. What's it called? NIE sponsorship money or whatever. NIL sponsorship money. All right, Coach. Saturday morning, I know you didn't get much sleep. You had a long road trip. You didn't get in bed over 2:30 a.m. So we're going to shut this edition of Breakfast with Benefield back, and we should be back after the Collinsville game in 2 weeks.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.